When I first saw this new bright RC, Forza Motorsport Cadillac V Series R, man, that's a mouthful, huh? On a shelf at a store, I thought to myself, wow, it was a nice body and a good size. Here it is compared to the original Fortec. Yeah, it's a good size. Then I quickly remembered it's a cheap new bright RC, so electronics and mechanicals will be terrible. But I decided to give it a go since it would be a fun project. And as expected, you know, it was terrible. The steering was driven by a motor, and it's not proportional. The electronics, ESC that drives the motors, there's two motors, front and back, was not proportional either. But that's easy enough, right? Put in a micro servo, typical ESC, but this one's, I guess, not typical. It has dual brush motor output. And that's all it takes to do that. Well, alright, so as expected, it's terrible. No suspension. Brush motors are tiny. But look, see, I even have the gyro. But let's see how it performs. Alright, running on 2S. Let's see how this works. Okay, track, start, stop, read, track, start. Full speed. Yay! Well, that's not very fast. So what did we get out of that? Stop. Read 8 miles an hour. Yeah. Alright, very underwhelming on 2S, but that's probably the normal speed. So with 3S, let's see how it works. Start. Yeah, little zippier. Definitely zippier. All right, stop, read. 12 miles an hour. It's an improvement. can I use it? Can I make something of it? And you know, when I was looking at it, I'm going, wow, it's got these you know, wheel well cutouts right here. And the profile, I thought, huh. I wonder if Arrma Vendetta chassis would fit. So I sized it up with the other RCs I have. I looked up online what the Arrma Vendetta wheelbase would be like. Now, if you can at least match wheelbase, you're halfway there. And it turns out this was almost down to the 1/10 of an inch, the wheelbase of the Vendetta. And wouldn't you know it, it's the Cadillac V for Vendetta. So I took a chance. I ordered a roller, and it was a brand new roller. And lo and behold, it fit. The wheels do stick out a little bit, and the best I can do without hacking it too much is to drop it down this much. But as you can see, the chassis still sticks out. But you know, when it's on the road and you're running it, you can't really tell those kind of things. So this is how I made this work. Alright, so first let's take the body clips off, and voila. So to fit it, I had to cut this off the back so that the rear shock towers would, the body would sit lower, and that's about as low as I could get it. Because I didn't want to hack the front up. I guess I could have dropped it even more, but I'd have to cut, just like in the back, I'd have to cut this for the front shock towers to get through, but I didn't want to do that. That was the compromise I had to do. So it sits a little taller than I would have wanted, but it's nice looking. And originally it came with lights already. So it had lights up front, lights in the back, and it had this distribution board over here. Made it easier for me to intercept the lines and drive them with my ESC. I mean my receiver, and I used a Dumbo RC receiver for it. So otherwise it's really fairly minimal. Grind this standoffs right here, cut those in the back. I do cut the wheel well a little bit in the front and a little bit in the back. And I was afraid it wouldn't sit down, but it does. So alright, that's for the body. And on the chassis, the first things that had to go were the side skirts right here, one on either side. That way the body could go lower. And in the back was this airfoil, so that had to go. And in the front, I had to cut the foam so that the body could sit in there. And I cut some holes in there for this to stick through it. The foam was sitting here, so that's where I had to cut the foam here so that it would sit in here. And with that, it's really nice and tight. I don't hear any movement at all between the body and the chassis. So that's what I had to do, because oh, and the other thing, the mount, see, I had to cut this down, both of them, to drop it down as low as I can and still be useful without compromising it so much. Same in the front, I had to drop the body posts, and then I just glued it down in there. So with those changes, the body was able to sit as low as I can set it without, you know, destroying it too much. All right, well, for the electronics, it was a roller, so there were no electronics. I do have a couple of Sentins. And in fact, I did try the 3200 brushless motor that the sentence came with in here, and the 120 BLX ESC initially, and that was pretty good. Fast enough, definitely. 3200 kV motor. So, but it's a heavy. This is actually pretty heavy, and now even heavier with the hard plastic body, of course. So I decided on a 3674 2250 kV brushless motor, and I did have a Hobby Wing 150 amp ESC, but in the typical configuration there would not have been any space for this larger motor and this larger ESC. So I had to be clever, and the receiver and servo comes in this box right here, and I ended up cutting it open, leaving the cover off, so technically it's no longer a waterproof receiver box, but that's fine because I'm not intending to bash this in water environment. But also the Dumbo RC receiver I'm using here is in fact waterproof, so that's good enough anyway. And I also had this Savox SC1258 TG black, and it's really a very fast servo. So this Dumbo RC, in my previous video, I was using it to drive all the LED lights that were already on the body, which was really simple. I'll show that, and I'll show you because you know, when you're working on this, you may have on occasion have to remove this motor to get to the pinion and the spur, and I didn't want it to be so that I have to tear it apart. I had to make it nice enough and elegant design anyway, so that I can just remove this like I normally would on the Senton, for instance, and then I'll have access to remove the motor and get to the spur and pinion. Okay, now typically if you were to get to the servo, these would be the screws you would remove. First you'd have to disengage the servo arm, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 screws, and this assembly will come out. The receiver box, the servo on top of it. And in my configuration, now it comes off, see? And there's that Savox. Oh yeah, I did not install a, what do you call that? A slipper on here. And there you go. The ESC is double-sided tape to it. There's the receiver right there, and the antenna comes through underneath. I'm not so sure I'm a fan of this configuration that Arrma uses. It's not nearly as convenient to get to. But because I did it this way, see, now I've got the base for the ESC inside of the receiver box that I had cut off right here. But I left the screw mounts so that I maintained the the integrity for the servo to do its job. See, simple. Alright, so here I've got two 2S batteries in series to give me 4S, and body is mounted, and just to show you how fast this Savox servo is, unbelievably fast. I don't know if that helps it steer better in the high-speed runs, but it's impressively fast. Let's go get it.